This should be a quick video. The Mark III Mondeo has a common problem with leaky rear doors. Actually, the fronts might give a similar problem, but here I've found this water appearing on top of the inner door sills, and a quick look under the doors shows water in sort of an unexpected place. It's up on the bottom of that plastic, but the door frame itself appears to be dry. You can see that that's true of the whole length of the door along here. So that water collects on top of the door sill, and enough of it will spill over into the cabin, and then you get a wet carpet. Always fun, because to dry it out properly you need to lift the carpet up and get underneath it. You physically remove any water you can with a sponge, and then let it dry sort of from the bottom up with a heater or a blow dryer pointed in there. Otherwise you're going to end up with mold because it just won't dry properly. Anyway, I let that drying, and I'll show you the issue with doors. The problem lies inside the door, behind the door card. It's not an issue with the outer rubber seals, as I'll demonstrate. So getting the door card off is very easy. There are just a few hidden screws you need to know about. Firstly, behind the door open handle, this plastic cover pops off. Use whatever works for you. Behind that is a T25 Torx screw, and when that's removed, this door handle frame will come away. You just need to pull the handle to be able to free it. Then, in the door pull handle on the armrest, this piece of plastic will just pop off. You just pry it outward toward the door. There are two metal clips which will just release, and under that is a Pozi drive screw which connects the door card to the frame where you pull on it. And finally, there are four remaining Pozi screws, two at the back edge and two at the front around the outside of the plastic. They're all very easy to remove. Just put them somewhere safe and don't lose them. And then the door card will be sort of swinging free. It's hooked on at the top, up by the glass, so you just sort of lift it upward carefully there, and it should just come away. And don't jerk it away though, because there's still the electrical connector for the window switch. That just unplugs quite easily, and there's also a little plastic clip which the wire goes on, which you just take off. Now I could start to see the problem, or at least my problem. Firstly, notice this weather seal cover which stretches across the whole door, and you can see how mine is all cracked. It has this layer of foam which is just completely deteriorated, and some of this foam was actually falling off, and it was ending up inside the car in the form of dust. I'd noticed that before, so I wasn't surprised to see this. And I was happy to see, though, that the backing membrane, which the foam is attached to, it still seems to be in good shape. There are no holes or tears in it. And going around the edge of it, I did notice that mine has parted from the door in a number of areas. It's stuck on around the edge with this black butyl type sealant, and you can see that whole sections of it have just let go. So it's possible that I've pulled this off in the past to get at the door insides. I did replace a locking motor many years ago, for example, and then I've probably just not stuck it back on properly. And by the way, at this point I'd put on a respirator because there was a lot of dust from this foam floating around in the air that you probably don't want to breathe in. And I'd also noticed this white spotty effect on the foam, which I initially thought might be mold. In the event, I actually don't think it is, but whatever. You still don't want to breathe it. So this is definitely where that water is getting inside. The thing about these doors is they're not 100% watertight at the exterior. Some of the water off the glass will drain inside the door. It's designed like that, and the water should then make its way to the drain holes at the bottom of the door frame, which are positioned outside the weather seals, and it does no harm. But in this case, if water is able to sneak past the membrane, it will drip out the door card, as you saw earlier. So I'm just going to see if I can stick my seal back together, but if the membrane was damaged beyond repair, or if the butyl was just obviously no good at all, you could also take it all off and look to these holes in the door. You would take off the pull handle bracket and remove the whole membrane, and then you would use some plastic sheet to seal up these holes. There are two of them. Then I would still want to put some sort of membrane back on top, but those holes, if you sealed them, that would be the first line of defense, and that alone should really keep the water out. Now, if you're resealing the old membrane, you really need to press it quite firmly together so that the two parts merge back together properly. You sort of need to mush the butyl together to make one form. It takes a lot of pressure, and if you think that it's just no good and it's not sticking, you could also add a second line of extra sealant around the outside. That could be new butyl or just a silicone sealant all around the edge, and the bottom half would be the bit to focus on because that's where the water will leak. After I resealed it, I removed all of this degraded foam. For me, it pretty much all just fell off with a small amount of rubbing. If you have to scrape it or something, then I'd be quite careful not to damage the backing membrane. You wouldn't want to accidentally put a hole in it. And sadly, removing this foam, of course, will diminish the insulation and the sound deadening, which is why it's there in the first place. If you really care about that, then you could try to add a new layer of sound insulation, some new foam. I just couldn't be bothered. You see, it makes a lot of dust, so I was happy to get this out of the car, to be honest. And you can see all of the foam that came off. I finished with a good vacuum to try to remove as much of the dust as I could. You'll also want to clean the inside of the door card because it gets quite dusty too. And then because, as I mentioned before, I was a little bit worried about mold, I made up some vinegar mixed with water, and I sprayed everything down with that. If you do that, you'll have to let it dry, of course, so it takes longer. And the membrane too, and I let this dry for a good day before I put the card back on. Okay, a test. I put some dry tissue paper on the door sill and then hit it with some water from the outside. It's a bit tricky to test because the way that this leak works, it might take some time for water to really find its way in. So it's best to just give it a light spray for quite a long time, a good few minutes to simulate a rain shower, rather than a sort of quick blast with a lot of water. And as I said before, some of that water is obviously kept out, but some of it does drain inside the door. The weather seals on the outside of the glass are not intended to be a perfect watertight seal, and water will get in there by design, especially at the corners, I think. It's just not supposed to get to the inside of the door. So I let that sit for, 20 minutes or so, and then I checked inside the car. As you can see, this is all perfectly dry now. With those seals redone. With the door card still off, you can actually see the inside of the door weather seals, and everything out as far as that is dry. And with the door open, you can see some drips here on the door frame, but that's outside the weather seal when the door's closed, so that's no problem. Right, reinstalling the door card is just the reverse of removal. It's very easy. Don't forget to reconnect the window switch though, or your passenger will be wondering why the window won't work. You hook it on the top by the glass, and once you've done that, it will basically have located itself for the most part. And the most important screw is the door pull one, because it holds the card sort of steel on steel to the door. And then the plastic cover for that just snaps back into place. And the door release handle surround goes back before the screw there does. And then the Torx screw. And don't forget the screw cap cover. And lastly, the 4 outside Pozi screws. Don't over tighten those ones because they just screw into these plastic standoff brackets and they don't do a lot anyway. And that's it. Yep, I hope that was helpful. Have fun.